Hey, what's going on, guys? So, this video is going to deal with proportions, but primarily just word problems. So, if you can solve a proportion, you can solve a word problem. Now, most of the word problems we deal with, the equations we get from them are not going to be too difficult, but the difficult task is setting up the proportion from the word problem. Just like every other word problem you do, the math, once you figure out what you have to solve, is pretty easy, but it's deciphering what you actually have to take away from the problem. So if we look here in this word problem, it says that Alec read a total of 6 books over 2 months. Right off the get-go, I'm going to underline 6 books in orange and the 2 months in blue. Because with a proportion, you're going to have basically 2 parameters or 2 things you're looking at. All right? So now, if we keep reading, it says Alec has read 45 books so far. How many more months has he been with his book club? Or how many months has he been with his book club? All right. So if we look here, we know that our parameters is books and months. When you're dealing with proportions, they're always going to give you 3 of the 4 things. So they're going to give you both of one parameter, aka in this problem we have both our books, and then they're going to give you one of the other parameter, in this case, which is months. So right off the bat, I'm going to draw a proportion. Okay. So ours for this problem is going to be 6 over 2, since I'm doing books over months. All right, and that automatically means that the numerator on our next equation must also be a book. Now, the reason we know that is because proportions are just an equation with 2 ratios that are equal on both sides. So if the numerator of the left ratio is books, in order for it to be proportion or equal to the right side, the right numerator also has to be books. All right, and then just fill in what you know. So 45, and then we don't know how many months, so we're going to put our variable x, and now it's nice and easy. So what I'm going to do is multiply both sides by 2. So now we get 6 equals 45 over x. Oh, not 45, it's going to be 90 because it's 45 times 2. All right, 90 over x. Now we're going to get rid of that x, so we multiply both sides by an x. So we get 6x equals 90. All right, and we divide both sides by 6, and we say that x is equal to 15. So some of you guys are going to stop here until that x is 15, which you're perfectly correct, all right? But what you do need to find out is that since it's a word problem, we must label our answer. Since we don't know how many months he's been with his book club, our real answer is going to be 15 months. All right? So, correct answer is 15 months. Now, if you guys look, when I did this problem, I didn't do I definitely did cross multiply and divide, but I didn't draw the big lines or the big circles or ovals, whatever you're going to call them, that everyone draws, because I just want to do it mathematically. So if we have 6 over 2, we want to get rid of this 2, multiply both sides by 2, because that's the inverse of division. Likewise, if it's 90 over x, we want to get rid of the x, multiply both sides by x, and you have 6x equals 90, and so on and so forth. So your correct answer is 15 months. Now, when you do proportions, I don't mind which way you solve them, as long as you're solving them correctly. And that's the way I am with all math. Is you're doing it correctly, and it's a mathematical, true way, then that's totally fine. All right, so our next problem, we're talking about our friend Kurt. And it's a retirement party. It's going to cost $15 if he invites 3 guests. All right, so I'm going to underline again, $15 in orange, guests in blue. Then it says if there are 4 guests, how much will Kurt's retirement party cost, assuming the relation is directly proportional? Directly proportional, we'll talk about that in later chapters when we talk about graphing, but just know now that that's assumed. All right, so again, 4 guests, the word guests I'm going to underline. So now we know that we're going to have money over guests, because that's how I want this one to be. All right, so that's the way both of our fractions are going to be set up. So if we look here, there's going to be a 3 on one side and a 4 on the other. The money that goes along with the 3 is 15. We don't know the money that goes along with the 4, so we put an X. All right, and that's what we're trying to find out. How much will this retirement party cost? So again, I want to get rid of this 3. So I multiply both sides by 3. And now we have 15 is equal to 3x over 4. All right. Now we want to get rid of this 4. So you're going to multiply both sides by 4. Since it's x over 4, we need to eliminate that 4 which is being divided. So we're going to have 60 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. And you're going to get that x is equal to 20. All right. Again, a lot of people think that this is your final answer because we found out what x equals, but you must go back to your problem and look at what variable are we searching for. In this case, we're looking for Kurt's retirement party cost, so x is really equal to $20, and that's your final answer. All right. See, the hardest part here, these proportions are easier to solve than some of the ones we just solved when I gave you them algebraically. There was no word problems. But the difficult part here is setting up the word problem. But once you get the hang of really labeling everything, it makes your life a lot easier. All right. So for this problem, it says the corporate team building event will cost us $18 for 9 attendees. How many attendees can there be at most if the budget for the corporate team building event is $40? Assume those two is directly proportional. Again, always, always, always label the two parameters that you're given in this problem. So this one we're given money and attendees, or people there. So I'm going to put money on top and our attendees on the denominator. So the way this proportion is going to work out, it's going to be 18 over 9. Actually, I'll write that in orange. 18 over 9, since those are the two that go together. And then it's going to be equal to 40 over x, since we don't know what this is. All right. The one thing that I'm going to do with this problem to make it a little easier is to make our numbers smaller. If you notice, a ratio is just a fraction, all right? And the one thing we know that we can do with fractions is we can simplify them by finding a common factor of the numerator and denominator. Preferably, if you find the GCF, it simplifies your fraction all the way, but you don't always have to. So, or you should, but technically you don't have to. So for this problem, we have an 18 over 9, all right? We all know that 9 goes into both of these numbers evenly, so it's going to go into 18 2 times. It's going to go into 9 once. So now we're really 40 over x is equal to 2 over 1. Now again, we're just going to multiply both sides by x to eliminate our x. All right. So now we have 2x equals 40. We're going to get x by itself, divide both sides by 2. And we know that x is equal to 20. All right. So we know here that we can invite 20 people. And that's your answer. You don't have to people. All right. You don't have to simplify the fraction. It's not going to change anything mathematically. I just like to because it makes your life easier when you're multiplying numbers, especially if you're doing it in your head or trying to be fancy. If you multiply 18 times x, you're going to get 18x. You get 18x is equal to 360. And you know that if you divide both of them by 18, x is equal to 20. All right, again, 20 people. So I'm just going to put PO. So if we look here, we got the same answer whether we simplified a fraction or we didn't simplify it. I prefer to simplify since it makes life easier. You guys don't like fractions, so I doubt you're going to be simplifying them. But again, it's just one of those things that's going to make your life easier when you're solving the problem. So, but again, no matter which way you solve these, it is not a concern of mine as long as you're solving them mathematically correctly. Also, you're getting the right answer, you're labeling, you're doing good math stuff. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you have any other questions, you can email me, find me in the hallways. Check out Derivative Dude for more info, and have a good one.